Hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am overwhelmed with a monstera jungle behind me, and that is what our video is about. So imagine all of these plants in one. So that's what this was 2 days ago. Basically, I have a monstera that went crazy. She was so big, and I've been chopping at her here and there. I've propagated her a few times, but she just kept growing. She was doing so well, so I cut her in quarters. I really hacked her away, and partly because she was growing in kind of a wrong way. There's a proper way to grow it so that it will vine upward, and mine was growing outward. So I wanted to show you how you can propagate, how I separated these, and all of that jazz. So with that, let's get into my monstera video. Okay, so this section was the biggest section, and as you can see, parts of it are kind of curling this way and growing, and that's because I had the monstera positioned the wrong way. So I bought this at a local nursery, and they had the plant just sort of plopped here in the middle, and it was growing, and it was just growing outward. The problem is this in its natural habitat is a vining plant, and they put off these roots, which are called aerial roots, which will wrap around things and in nature and wrap around a tree and under the canopy of the jungle and eventually grow upward. But because this wasn't vining to anything, it was just growing outward, and this whole piece here was flopped over and growing out that way. So that's why this is kind of growing in a corkscrew fashion. So I'm trying to correct what I can. So that's why I now have it to a pole. And if you can see, these are the aerial roots. Let me turn this puppy around. So this plant actually has a front and a back. The aerial roots will grow off in a V like this direction. So right here is an aerial root. They tend to grow in a crisscrossing back and forth in kind of a V shape. And then the petioles will be in the front and facing typically outward, but mine are kind of growing a little squonkus. So I now have located the back of the plant, and I'm trying to correct what I can. I obviously can't like force this to go a different direction. Over time, I'm sure it will point toward the light, but now I have it positioned to grow in a better way for the plant. And so that's the main reason why I chopped it in half, and because it was just getting too hard to control. So it looks a little funny now, but over time it will fill in appropriately. And I just love the fenestrations on that. So, and mine are starting to get more and more of those holes right here. Oh, sorry, these holes right here, which as they get mature, the new leaves that will come out will have lots of those. And that's sort of the desired look of this plant. So let's say you wanted to propagate this monstera. What you would do is locate at the top of the plant. So this is where it's growing upward. So this is where you'd cut it. You have to make sure you cut it where it includes one of these little nodule aerial roots at least. So if you wanted to propagate these two leaves up here, you can easily do it by just taking a knife and make sure they're clean and sharp. You'd want to cut right here between this next node down and these aerial roots. Okay, over here I have a bunch of propagations that I've already cut. So I'm going to show you one that was just cut today. And then here is the aerial root that you need to have, this little piece here. And you cut right below that, and then you plop this into water. Put it somewhere where it's sunny and or at least has some indirect sunlight, and you leave it for about a month or so, and it will be ready to plant. And in about a month, you will get roots that start looking like this. So let me get you close. So out of that aerial root will grow a longer root, and then those will shoot off other smaller roots, and it looks a little alien, creepy like. Once it looks icky and creepy, you know it's good to put into soil. So I am going to plant these up today and show you how easy it is to propagate this plant. And before you know it, you will have a monstrosity of monstera that you can give to all your friends. I basically have been texting all my friends and telling them that I'm giving them some plants because I do not need all 4 of these monstera because they just are so hardy and grow so well. My house is becoming a little overflowing with monstera. But I'm gonna take you over to show you how to plant this. For almost all my plants, I use orchid bark, topsoil, some perlite, and mosquito bits to keep away the fungus gnats. That's a big tip. So if you want your plant to grow outward and crazy like mine, which it is a cool look and it's beautiful, there's nothing wrong with that. It just will overtake your house potentially. You can plant it right in the middle, going crisscrossing, do whatever you want. But I would like my plants to not go fully crazy, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. And I am not an expert. There are people that are experts on the internet to this, and I am just a casual plant liker. So a little bit of soil on the bottom, and then, as I mentioned before, these grow on the back of the plant. So this is the back of the plant, this is the front of the plant. Again, this is back of the plant, front of the plant. So I want these to face forward and have the aerial roots in the back, and then I want to put that to the back of the planter as best I can, like so. And then I don't have a moss pole or stake, I have a skewer to barbecue. I'm going to use that at least while the plant is small. As this plant gets bigger, it will need more support, but it will at least start helping it that way. Try to position them well, facing the back. And you don't have to plant two together. I'm not sure if that's the smartest thing to do, but it's too late. So if I don't plant these exactly right with the moss pole, I can always replant them later, but I'd like them to be positioned correctly so that way they're not corkscrewing sort of the wrong direction. So I'm sure I could do this better, but it's at least fulfilling the need for now. You don't want to cover this too much down here because you'll get rot. So you want to keep it a little bit upward with the petioles. I might need to pull it up a little bit. And this probably could have even gone in a smaller pot. You always want to start off smaller than you think because the plant can easily get overwatered and rotted out. And then I'm just going to tie these gently to the skewer, just to get them growing correctly. That stake's not doing much, but it's at least something until the roots get established. And that is that. And I'm not an expert, but I've kept this alive pretty well, so. And one thing that I didn't mention with the big mother plant, I wish I could say that there was some beautiful technique I used to divide the plant, but basically the plant was so big and its root system was so big, I kind of just hacked away at it, kind of with my hands, and just separated them into different pieces. I think the plant may have originally been two different plants, but the roots were all intertwined, but they seem to come apart pretty easily. So these have only been planted in their new soil for about 2 days, so it's possible there could be some death in the future if I was too aggressive with it, or sometimes there's just like transfer shock. These plants tend to be pretty hardy, and I've had a lot of success with them. I've never had anything Monstera related die. Each of them had enough of a root system that I think that they would recover. It might take a while for any new growth to happen, because typically if you damage the roots or replant them, the plant, I don't know how it knows, something in the plant knows to focus on the roots first, and it will establish the root system before it pushes out new growth typically. So I foresee that happening with this. They'll grow some new roots, establish in the pot, and then probably by springtime I'll start seeing an explosion of new growth. I'm gonna make my friends take some of these Monstera and show them how easy they are to care for. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you learned a little bit about Monsteras, and please click on this video of mine, and I'll catch you over in that video. Bye-bye.